So the issue that we saw with styling text, where we have like a space between it, right? And not so much in the middle of text, but more so like if we do it at the start of a line, right? This leads us to the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which are lists. So down here, oh, if it will let me, let's see, let's just put a little space in here just to be able to move things down a bit. There we go. All right. So down here, I've created this unordered list, right? And by unordered, I just mean that it's not numbered, right? But this isn't a real list. This is just text with a hyphen in front and line breaks, right? I mean, it's a list, but it's not a list as far as the computer is concerned. We know it's a list. The computer doesn't know it's a list. How do we let the computer know that it's a list? I kind of did that earlier on accident, right? And that's what I was just showing you, right? So instead of using this escape command, we can use hyphens. Oh, oops, oops. Oh, stop. There we go. We can use hyphens, right? And I showed that to you earlier on accident. And then more recently, I also showed you with asterisks, right? And so you can use either one. You can actually use a lot of different things, but I wouldn't stray far away from using asterisks or hyphens, right? So depending on the editor and everything, sometimes you can use pluses. Now notice that it's giving that little line break when I'm changing the style, right? Because the way that I'm marking the list is changing, right? So it's a little confused as to what I'm doing, right? Are these separate lists? Are they the same list? What is he doing? Anyway, I prefer asterisks just to keep things more the same with other parts of my document. Now, there's more things that we can do with this. A lot of times with lists, you like to have things like, have some hierarchy as well, right? Like we have the hierarchy in the titles. What if you want hierarchy in your list? So if we add a little bit of indentation to these, we can create some hierarchy there. And what if we do a little bit more, right? So that's how we can do some of these things, and we can have multiple levels within our lists by adding that in front with a little bit of space, with some white space, as we might call it. Text, whatever, doesn't matter, right? So this is how we can do this with um, unordered lists and spacing. Now I keep saying unordered lists, right? And that implies that there are also ordered lists, and there are. So by an ordered list, I would mean that instead of these random symbols, right, that are just dots or dashes or squares or whatever, we would have numbers, right? And so we can do that too. So how do we do a numbered list, right? Now this is going to seem really simple, and it is. To make a numbered list, we use numbers. So 1, 2, 3, right? And that's it. That's how you make an ordered list. You just put numbers. Now, on some editors, it doesn't actually care what numbers we use, and let's see if that's true with this or not. So if I add this in, there we go, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6 here, right? These numbers don't matter actually. This could be 100. Oh, actually, the starting number. The starting number matters, but the rest don't, right? So this could be 200, and this could be 32, and 04. And like the editor knows that I'm doing some weird stuff, and it's not sure why, so it's highlighting it for me, like in the same way it does the spell check, right? But it still accepts it, right? And it ignores whatever these other integer values are that I put in. And just like with the other ones, I can do some spacing in here if I want, right? So cows, horses, chickens, whatever, right? So you can do indentations with this as well, and that'll work too. Right? And then white chickens and brown chickens, black chickens. I don't really know all the colors that chickens come in, but we'll go with those, right? So you can see there's multiple ways to add in lists, both ordered and ordered with indentation or without indentation. Now, something interesting to note, when we do this, we do these lists with all of this extra indentation, and we put it in GitHub, and let's just add a space so we can commit. All right, so it didn't really like my spacing here, right? But if we go to the pages, notice here it's fine with it. So that's kind of interesting, right? So this matches those, but this didn't match here, right? So that's a little interesting. Now if we undo a bit to go back to where we had an unordered list instead, so we'll grab all this and let's paste that in and see if it's equally unhappy. So this is fine. So it doesn't mind the hierarchy with unordered lists in the non-pages mode, right? Just the regular GitHub repos. But if we go over here, then I think it'll be fine here too, right? Because if it was okay with this, then it would probably be okay with that as well. And it is, right? So really, it's just the ordered lists when we're in this format that it has a little bit of trouble with.